I took Alex's advice and gave my minions very clear orders. Be as devoted to me as possible, and convince others to join you. I also told them to start spreading the word of the Olympians to the human children so that they can be converted early. Human children are incredibly easy to influence, and if I can get them on my side, they'll grow up knowing my name. With such explicit instructions, my minions cannot possibly misinterpret me again. I've just tempted the fates, haven't I?
Okay guys, the first meeting of Bros for Blair is officially in session. Now I've talked to Blair, and she wants us to be as devoted to her as possible. I know she wants us to express that devotion in some form of charity work. So we're going to be working with kids, we're going to be teaching kids about mythology. She didn't say how, but our outreach coordinator, Steve, has a plan. Want to tell us about it, Steve?
Yeah, so I was thinking to myself, what's the best way to make kids learn about mythology? I think Percy Jackson books, guys. Who's here's read a Percy Jackson book? They're fun, full of information, they're easy to read, and people enjoy it. I've talked to after-school programs at some schools in the area, and they think it's a great idea.
It is a great idea, Steve. Now, who wants to be on the reading committee?
These silly little midwives have not exactly gotten themselves off to a great start. I don't know where they got these religious texts that they're using to evangelize to the young mortals, but they're absolutely riddled with inaccuracies. I don't know who authorized the publishing of these texts. They seem to perpetuate the idea that there are large secret camps of mortals that communicate with us regularly. I have never seen any evidence of this. The narrator himself is nothing but a pubescent demigod boy who, frankly, I have never heard of. It will come as a surprise to no one that humans, even in their holy books, glorify themselves more than the gods. The entire premise of this propaganda seems to be that the only thing able to keep the gods from another war with the Titans is humans. Well, demigods, which are even worse in a way. The divinity in their blood really just goes to their head. I'm sorry, demigods, are you immortal? No, you're not. Right. Do you live on Olympus? No, 'cause you're stuck here on this wretched planet. Which indicates nothing, really. I mean, it's been known to happen to various powerful beings. Look, I'm not saying that it's a complete impossibility, that demigods might be good for something, and I know that my father sent me here to learn the usefulness of humans, but come on, give me a break. There's no way that any mortal, demigod or not, could have done half the things that these teenagers did in that first tome alone. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some gods who have one mortal parent, like Dionysus or Alex, but they're special cases, and frankly, I don't have time to go into the logistics of that whole thing. Though it does annoy me that these texts are highly fictionalized and dramatized, I must admit, I do find some of the portrayals amusing. My grandfather, for example, is depicted as some conniving, powerful villain. Please. Cronus is so not as big a deal as people seem to think. He hasn't been much of a problem to anybody since Dad locked him in Tartarus. Not that that did any damage to his ego, of course. Nobody has as much unwarranted self-confidence as Cronus. Well, except mortals. Yeah, because really, any self-confidence in mortals is unwarranted. Anyway, I don't know who this Perseus Jackson is, but I'm going to have to put a stop to this whole educational operation. I can't have the next generation of human children going around thinking that Poseidon wears floral prints.
So, although your efforts are appreciated, you can see why I'm going to have to ask you to stop. And as for this name that you've chosen for the religion, you have to change it. This Bros for Blair nonsense is just absurd.
We already made the t-shirts.
Well, that is neither my fault nor my problem.